Yes.
It's hard for a voter
Smart
to get excited
signals.
about adaptive signals.
Smart signals, signals that adapt to the traffic, basically, is what it is. And we don't have a lot of them in this district. Yes.
What's the timing for the city to officially adopt Division 0?
Oh, we've already adopted it. We're finishing up our action plan, and the only thing that's really holding us back from widespread implementation is revenue. So I was able to convince the city, we have a red light camera program. It was in place before I got there. It's probably the best run program in the state, us in Sarasota. The only thing that we didn't have in place that we needed to fix, because I ended up testifying at the House and Senate for the last 3 years, is the revenues going into general fund, and that's been one of their bogus arguments, is this is just a program to fill up city coffers. So we put those funds, I convinced the mayor and the commission that we had to put those funds in the cost center, and they're only being used for safety purposes. We need speed enforcement, automated speed enforcement too, but in this current legislation, we're fighting every year to keep the red light camera programs. So I use those funds for safety improvement, but it's only about $2 million a year, so not enough to do widespread, to deal with these high entry network corridors. So we're doing smaller projects in the year. Excuse me. Yes.
With those stats from Dangerous by Design, with 8 of the top 10 in Florida, do you kind of feel, I mean, I know cities across the country have different dynamics, but do you feel like it's harder work in Florida or the South generally with just the rate of growth and the development patterns to get there as opposed to a New York City or San Francisco?
No question. We're not going to be able to do what Portland and New York City have done, because our downtown core is so small. I mean, it's not even a block of New York City. But yeah, all of the Sunbelt states have the same problem, because all of our growth happened after World War II. And the fact is that because we don't have adequate network, you know, because the state and the federal feds funded all these road capacity projects, we have large roads and large intersections. And I can tell you that when we did our work at DOT, 50% of our fatalities happen at intersections, you know, signalized or otherwise. So it's where you have conflict points, and the more lanes you have, the higher the speed and the more severe the injuries are for everybody. George?
So, you touched a little bit about in these statistics how, you know, the fatalities disproportionately affect the lower socioeconomic.
Yes.
At what point, and I draw the parallel to the Americans with Disabilities Act, and then, you know, I think we ask people across the board, they should be more accessible to the civil population, and say, yes, that's a good idea. Sure. But the federal requirements that were put in place were far more than anyone would build on. Right? You're talking about the 64 years. At what point do we start asking the hard questions to say, you know, the data suggests that, you know, your priority to preserve your commute time or perceived that's having those effects.
Yeah.
And we stop because, you know, again, we keep asking people, you know, would you prefer this existing section when your commute time is this, or this new section when it's Y? But we're not, and I think it prevents us from making the bolder choices that we need to. At some point, we're going to have to make some pretty big sacrifices.
Well, that's why it requires leadership. If the political will is not there to do something different, then it's not going to happen. And the challenge that we run into, when we did that Curry Ford Road project, we had a public event out on Curry Ford Road, and I had this one woman come up to me screaming at me and using, you know, not very polite language, and basically saying if there's a problem on this road, it's because these stupid pedestrians are getting in the way of the automobiles. That's the mentality I've been dealing with my whole career. You know, it's very discouraging. If it was her kid that got killed someday, then I suspect she'd have a different mindset. But transportation safety is not the priority that it should be in the country.
Well, the challenge for like Commissioner Ortiz is, you know, there's a handful of emergent businesses and neighborhoods that are trying to have community on Curry Ford.
Exactly.
But then there's a bazillion voters that are living out there to the east
Yep.
that he represents.
And to the south.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, so it's like, you know,
A minute of delay in the commuting time.
I don't know if you mentioned this, but when you were doing all the data regarding Curry Ford, did you count pedestrian?
Yes.
So that,
And
there was an
bicyclists.
increase
We had a
in,
big increase in both.
and bicycle?
Yes. Yes.
One comment that I had when we went to a meeting with Smart Growth Central Florida, you always will have, when you do any type of transportation, the human factor is the most important one, but if you want to make an argument to the people that live outside, you have to sort of make the economic argument too.
Sure.
And one of the things when that project was basically released is that, and I was talking with somebody, one bicyclist, like he was talking about next time we're gonna do something like this, and we are very intentional of talking to the businesses that are nearby and see how many more visits they receive and do that to show the economic impact of that. That may convince, because sadly a lot of the things go, and it's gonna happen with the sales tax too. If you don't tell the average family how much that extra sales tax is gonna cost you, how much to protect tourists, you lost the argument there.
And I know what you're saying. The challenge is being able to have projects that demonstrate that kind of change, and so that's one of the things that I try to do. I was involved with a road diet on Gaines Street in Tallahassee many years ago when I was in the private sector. That road it was pretty much industrial. It divided the Florida A&M campus from Florida State, and it just sat there for 40 years. It's just run down industrial. And so the city, I was involved with a charrette that a bunch of us volunteered to do for a month, and we proposed what was going to be a conversion from a 4-lane undivided road to a one-way street. This is what the city engineer had proposed. He had been hired from Las Vegas, and he proposed this. They were already developing the plans, and we came in with a road diet plan with 3-lane cross-section and on-street parking. And thankfully, the city commission voted unanimously to kill the one-way and to make it to road diet the street. And it's been about 6 years in place, but as soon as the 3-laning started in the area where all the state office buildings are, at the other end, development just took off. And there's been probably at this point in time, the last time I checked, over $350 million of redevelopment in a very short segment of Gaines Street is probably in the 500 million range now. So showing those kinds of projects is helpful. But if, for example, if we did that on Curry Ford Road, those people that live outside of Curry Ford Road, they're probably not going to care. That's the challenge that you run into. So you've got to care. You've got to have leadership that cares more about the community and the people that live in the community than those driving through. And that's where the leadership comes in. Yes.
Is there specific feedback you receive from the owners of property adjacent after these road diets occur, either positive or negative?
So, well, all of the property owners on Gaines Street were in favor. I mean, they had been sitting there when I was interviewing the property owners. They said, we've been waiting 20 years for the city to make a decision. And I think probably 85 to 90% of those properties have either flipped or redeveloped. So that tells the story from my perspective. Yes.
Do you have any plans to work with bike share programs like Lime Bike or Hopper to capture data on where people are taking the roads?
We're already doing that. That's part of our agreement with Lime Bike. We have agreements with all the bike share companies, so we use that data to help us establish where we're going to put more bike racks and also where we're going to make improvements on the bike network.
Answer my question.
Yes.
So Bill, you mentioned leadership a few times. In your 3 years since you've been back here in Orlando, have you seen, and I'm not just talking about the city, but just regionally, have you seen an improvement in education and leadership on this issue?
Yeah, I think so. One of the things, Jim Martin, who's with the Orlando Economic Partnership, he has taken a much greater interest in these types of programs. In fact, he's got me doing another presentation at the ART. So yeah, I'm seeing it, and I think that I can say from Bike Walk Central Florida that based on our BFF program, that there's definitely interest in the communities within Seminole and Osceola counties to do things differently, at least when it comes to pedestrian safety.
I think you did it. Kurt? Yeah.